Hello Internet! My name is Liddy and I'm here to share my fibromyalgia story. I wanted to do this video because when I was first diagnosed, I felt like I was completely alone in the world and I didn't know what I was going to do in order to make myself feel better. I also didn't know that there were a lot of people suffering from fibromyalgia as well, and looking at other people's stories and what they were doing gave me hope. So I kind of want to share my story, and if I could help at least one person by sharing this video, then this video is worth making. I'm gonna start off by the symptoms that I was feeling. So the first one was the tiredness, the lack of motivation for waking up in the morning, the muscle soreness, the neck pain, the lower back pain. Those were the first things that appeared. Then Raynaud's disease appeared, which is the lack of circulation to your hands, depending on differences in temperature, even going from having my hands in a normal temperature to washing my hands, that would initiate my hands to swell up, itch very much, and they could even turn purple. If I overall had pain all over my body, I was very sensitive to touch. Even a hug would be like, I couldn't handle it. It's just that my skin was very, very sensitive. I also had I was very sensitive to light and to noise. It would annoy me, and I would hear things, even at a low volume, would bother me. I just wanted to stay in my room, lights off, no noise. Then I also started feeling a lot of chest pain that was attributed because this part right here was very, very sore, and whenever I would breathe and kind of open my diaphragm to let air in, this part would expand, and it hurt so bad, so I couldn't expand my diaphragm sufficiently to get enough air in, and that would make me more anxious because I was trying to get the air in without hurting myself, which was most of the time impossible. I also was very clumsy. I had muscle spasms, which were horrible. I had rashes that would come out of nowhere. I would take a shower and I would get these rashes on my skin. My doctors thought it was lupus at first because of the rashes and the sensitivity to the light and the sun that my skin had, which ended up not being the case. I also had a lot of stomach problems and was very, very bloated. I also had a lack of appetite and I had no thirst. I had depression as well, a very, very strong depression. And fatigue, anxiety, it kind of all went into this one huge thing, plus all the tiredness, plus all the pain that I was feeling. I was very overwhelmed and I didn't know what was going on. And I was having intestinal problems and stomach problems. I was at this point where my symptoms didn't make a lot of sense because they weren't continuous. They would come off and on. I also had tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ears, and it just came and went. None of my symptoms were static except for the overall pain in my body and in my muscles. Then every other symptom, it would come on and off. One day I would not have a headache, but the next I would, and maybe I would be 3 days without a headache, and then that kind of thing. And it was just very confusing. Like, I didn't know what was going on and I didn't know how to put it into words. I was also very depressed, so I wasn't talking as much. I wasn't very in tune with my body and what was going on, and I kind of tried to shut what my body was trying to tell me to continue with my daily activities until I couldn't stand up, I couldn't move. Like, there were days that no matter how strong-willed I wasn't able to stand up and get on my feet and get on with my day. So I started to look for answers. I went to all of the doctors that you could imagine. I didn't know where to start because I didn't know that my symptoms were connected to one another. I kind of thought, well, a headache once in a while, everybody gets a headache once in a while. I mean, my rashes, I'm very allergic, so I kind of attribute it to my allergies. And then the muscle pain, I've always been kind of achy. It just got a lot more intense throughout these months. And I didn't associate all the symptoms together to form a diagnosis. Because I went to different specialists, not all of them know about fibromyalgia, and they try to look for other reasons why I was feeling so sick. So I got a lot of blood work done. Basically everything that you could get done I got. I got tested for anemia. I got looked at my white and red blood cells. I looked in my thyroid to see if I had some kind of thyroid disease, and that would explain the energy loss. And everything was normal, which was very annoying at the time because I wanted something to come out positive so that I could have something to treat, because meanwhile you just think that everything is in your head and that you're making it up, and you're not. Pay attention to your body and what it's telling you, because I have the habit to kind of push things down in order to be able to continue with my daily activities. And sometimes you have to stop and sit down and listen to what your body is telling you, and this is exactly what I had to do. Spoke to my mom and we started looking at the symptoms. I went to a friend of hers, which is a neurologist, and she also happens to have fibromyalgia, which I didn't know at the time. I didn't know this disease existed. She heard what I had to say. She knew that I had a deep depression, so I was referred to a psychiatrist immediately. And she also diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. So we started off by putting me on Lexapro for my depression because I was very, very depressed. I really didn't want to do anything. I thought that nothing would work anyway, so why even try? But Lexapro kind of put me back a little bit on my feet. It didn't help with the pain or any other of the symptoms, but it helped, and with my mood in general. The other symptoms were still there and they were very, very uncomfortable, but I was able to kind of stand up on my 2 feet and be like, this is something that I have to take care of, and I'm gonna have to take time for my health and myself. So I did. Before starting Lexapro, we started with Cymbalta, which is also an antidepressant, and it was a medication that did not work for me because I had a very severe allergic reaction to it. Another medication that they tried to put me on was Seroquel, which in low doses is used to induce sleep because I wasn't able to sleep. I had very bad insomnia, or I wouldn't really rest through the night. So they put me on that, and I also had a very bad allergic reaction. So those are 2 medications that did not work for me. I also took pregabalin, which is supposed to help with sleep and the pain. I took 150 milligrams for around 3 months without basically any results. I kept taking it because I didn't have any allergic reaction to it, and I kind of didn't have any other medication to look at. I was scared to try anything else because my body was responding so strong to all the other medications. And this is when I realized that I had to look for alternative medicine and alternative treatments to try and treat this, because I didn't want to put extra stress in my body by exposed to getting more allergic reactions from medications, traditional medicine. So I looked up at other people's stories, and I searched up and talked to my doctor about the supplements that this kind of disease needs, and this is something that I definitely would recommend doing. I also tried, besides the supplements that I'm taking, which are vitamins E, vitamin C, B12, B6, B1, B complex, D3, which is an important one for energy, omega-3, and curcumin, because it actually helped me quite a bit with, at least with the inflammation in my body. CoQ10, magnesium. I started to take amino acids, L-carnitine and ribose, as well as the enzyme M7 before I ate. And all these amino acids helped tremendously with my stomach issues and with my intestinal problems as well. And the magnesium helped me with the tightness in my chest. Probiotics, very, very important. That helped a lot as well with my intestinal problems. And my diet is basically gluten-free. I try and stay away from processed foods and from very refined sugars. And I have a diet that's high in fiber. So I want to talk to you about not only the medications but the treatments that I have done. So I tried hyperbaric oxygen chamber, and just in 1 or 2 sessions I started to see that my hands were getting a better blood flow. My hands were warmer. I don't get Raynaud's disease ever since I started doing the oxygen chamber. I've had a total of 6 sessions, and though it has not helped with my pain level and the other symptoms, it has helped with the circulation to my limbs. Then I went and tried Chinese medicine, and I got 2 kinds of tea here. One was the detox tea. The Chinese doctor, what he does is that he tailors the herbs to your specific problems. So he tailored my tea to what I was feeling. The second one was for pain. It didn't work for me. I also tried acupuncture because it was something that a lot of people have been mentioning in their stories and in the things that they have done that have helped. And for me, that was not an option. It was very painful, despite this person being a very good professional, and he had been in this line of work for over 30 years. So I leave the option up to you in terms of trying it. A lot of people say that it has worked for them. And I also did cupping, which helped the circulation get better to certain parts of your body. And what's behind it is that if there's better circulation, then there's less pain in the area. I also tried craniosacral therapy, and this is a therapy that is based on the energy in your body. And what it does is that it claims to open up channels of energy that have been closed off, and it helps with just the energy flow in your body. And I tried it, and I found instant relief in this kind of therapy. It is different with everyone, and not everybody responds to this kind of treatment. The effects of it are not long, but I can tell you that it works, that it's an instant relief. I also tried functional medicine, and this is something that really worked for me. I tried the Ozone IV therapy, and what they do is they take out an amount of blood from you, and they pump it with ozone, and then they put it back into your body. And what it does is that by those cells being more oxygenated, they start to reproduce, and it's just a benefit. For me, it was very comfortable and fast, and right after I got it, I felt immediate results. My pain level had gone down by about 50%, and this was only in a couple of minutes after getting this done. And I was also prescribed by this functional medicine LDN, and this is something that I was waiting to talk to you guys about. LDN is low dose naltrexone. You take this medicine before going to sleep, and this medicine stops your production of endorphins. Your body, after a couple of hours of not producing endorphins, is boosted into producing a greater amount of them. So this is supposed to help with pain, with the foggy brain, as well as many of the other symptoms that you feel with fibromyalgia. Low-dose naltrexone is used for various autoimmune diseases, and has also been used in cancer patients. And it's shown that endorphins help your immune system. What intrigued me about this drug is the amount of side effects that it doesn't have. The only thing that is said online and on the studies is that you might get a headache or very vivid dreams and that kind of thing, but the major side effects that are found in various other drugs are not found with low-dose naltrexone. So I started using it, and I've only used it once in the lowest spectrum of the dose, which is 1.5 milligrams, and I've already seen an improvement in my mood and the fogginess and everything. I'm making this video after only taking 1.5 milligrams last night, and I feel a lot better this morning. So I'm feeling very hopeful, and I wanted to share my experience with all of you guys. I encourage you to research LDN and to speak to your doctor about it. I'm gonna get going now because I don't want to make this video too long. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below, and I'll be glad to answer them in a Q&A. So I'm gonna leave, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.